Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting of October 8th, and we're now in session. So the first thing on the agenda is the minutes dated 9/24. Did everybody get a chance to check them out? Any comments, or you don't want to make a motion?
It was just September 12th. I don't think I was here September 12th. Was I here?
Yes.
Just asking.
You're always here.
I just never know. Never know.
You were here in body, Gina.
Oh, okay. Lying spirit? All right. All right, no problem. You came for the minutes, though.
Let me see.
921.
Yeah, you want a copy? Go ahead.
I don't have it in.
I think it's
Part of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I know it is.
You've
Right
got
here,
it in
something.
your stack somewhere
It's right
there.
here, something.
Right here.
All right. Jeez, you really hide it. You hide it for everything. You hide everything.
You need to actually open the envelope when I give it to you.
Did you read them? Did you get a chance to?
Yeah, well, just give me 2 seconds.
Okay. Why don't you look at that and we can,
I have a couple of permits
okay?
that you can sign. So let me just double check. So Shattuck Street, 31 Shattuck Street is down as 735, but they have changed, as you might have seen in Jim's comments. So I'm not sure whether they're planning on coming or not, but this is ready to be signed, and then Manawanna as well can be signed.
We're supposed to have a little time here.
Yeah.
I'm all done.
Look familiar?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we didn't see this one, Matawanaki.
We did not see
That
that?
was just a standard.
It's just, there's no variance
Right.
cited, so.
Right.
So it just
it's
needs-
just approval, yeah.
Okay. That's why I'm wondering. Didn't look like the usual.
I know it's only,
Yes, yeah, it's only that, right. And it didn't match up with AFR.
Right.
Right.
And this one, Mike, you were out
Yeah.
last time, but it's fine because
Yeah, I heard
the board
first.
didn't approve it, so this is just, again, no variances.
Okay, no variances on this one.
right.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the minutes of September 24th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So you sent the email from the MAHB, or I got an email from the
Yeah.
MAHB?
I did, I didn't finish reading it though, so I don't know.
Okay, well, they're requesting that we sign this resolution as a committee. So I'd just like to read it, and maybe we can talk about it, and everyone agrees we can sign it. It's for the, to stop the youth vaping and e-cigarette epidemic. So I'll just read it, and you guys can listen. If you want to read it, you can have it after. Whereas, resolution of the Board of Health for the Town of Littleton to stop the youth vaping and e-cigarette epidemic. Whereas big tobacco companies are using flavors and cheap prices to get kids to use dangerous vaping, Juul, and e-cigarette products. And whereas e-cigarettes are dangerous and contain nicotine and other harmful chemicals. And whereas nicotine is bad for you and one Juul pod contains the same amount of nicotine as one pack of cigarettes. And whereas nicotine is derived from tobacco, is addictive, and is a gateway to traditional cigarette use and has immediate short-term negative health impacts with brain development, popcorn lung, and leads to cardiovascular issues. And whereas youth and teen vaping / e-cigarette use is at alarming rates, and Massachusetts is the 8th worst in the country in terms of high school use of electronic cigarettes. And whereas flavors make it easier for kids to start using tobacco products, and now nearly 25% of high schoolers are now using e-cigarettes / vaping / Juul. And whereas kids are now using these products at a rate that is 6 times higher than adults. And whereas flavoring is designed to lure kids to vaping products. And whereas flavors are already banned in cigarettes, except mint and menthol, and whereas vaping/Juul/e-cigarette products are not subject to an excise like other tobacco products, making them cheaper for kids who are price sensitive. And whereas local boards of health are closer with the communities they are charged with protecting than our state and federal agencies, and their local nature makes them an integral part of improving and promoting population health. And whereas this Board of Health, upon consideration of all data and information, has deemed the issue of pediatric and adolescent addiction and addiction potential to vaping and e-cigarette materials an issue of grave public health concern. Be it known that the Board of Health for the town of Littleton supports a ban on favored tobacco products and creating excise parity for e-cigarettes and other vaping products. And then we sign it.
Even the state stopped from people from distribute that for 4 months. The governor had that. The question is going to the legislators and the Senate and the state representative. They're going to make a decision whether they stop completely or just waive it afterwards. So let's see what happens. It is something that a lot of people die from that stuff. I can't believe it. You know, it's not like smoking on longevity. You get to be 60 instead of to be 90. Your lungs can't work no more. These kids here, they die young. So I'm glad the governor took that decision to stop for 4 months.
Make a motion that we approve and endorse as a board the proposed statement of our position
Okay.
in support of the legislation.
Thank you. Anyone second
I'll
it?
second that.
I second.
All right, so I
got
will
2 seconds.
sign it. Can you email this, or do you want me to do it tomorrow?
I can do.
Yeah. As an attachment?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. Any comments from, anybody have any remarks?
For the paper?
I just have one, all right? I would just like to encourage our board at the earliest opportunity to have a portion of or a complete meeting, depending on the judgment of the merits of the proposal by the chair, to discuss procedures and processes so that we can be more consistent of how we treat both all kinds of, shall we say, regulations and applying regulations to different types of dwellings, and to also make our process more transparent and more available to folks who are in the business of, or owners who wish to do development and enhancement of their property. So we can simply make things easier, more, shall we say, easier for us and easier for the public.
Yeah, we do need to come up with some guidelines.
That's exactly it. Yeah. That's my only comment. It's a request more than anything else.
Absolutely. We'll put that on the agenda for next meeting.
Next meeting?
If you have the time to. Okay.
Yep.
yeah.
So Kevin and I went to the planning board meeting, October 2nd, for the Haley Corner development,
Yeah.
and it was carried on to their next meeting with no, they did not discuss it, so the next meeting was the 21st, I think?
21st.
So we'll go to that.
Is anyone here from the Healy project?
They should be at 7:50.
Okay.
Okay, so 7:10, we can discuss the 25 King Street property.
Good evening, my name is Dan Wolf, I'm with David Ross Associates, and we sent a brief letter to you, just giving you a quick outline of what we were up to and wanted to discuss with you. We're representing, and I'm sorry, this is,
Joe Green from Energy North, Director of Operations.
so Energy North is the owners of the facility at 25 King Street. This is the gas station on the corner with there's a car wash there, convenience store inside, also with a Dunkin' Donuts inside. Energy North is a fairly new owner. I believe they've owned it for about a year and a half now. A little bit more than that. And shortly after they came in and bought the place, they installed the new septic system that you had referenced. From what I understand, the previous owners were, Jim Gariffi had been chasing them to fix this problem, but Energy North came in, fixed the problem. But they've also been analyzing their whole business plan for the facility. As you've probably noticed, the garage bays that used to be there are no longer there. And that space, they hope to renovate and get more use out of. The existing Dunkin' Donuts, there's a architectural plan that's been prepared to move the existing Dunkin' Donuts counter
The other side.
into that space
Right.
and use half of that, the garage space. The other half is a proposal for a Sal's Pizza. Now, the unique thing about this whole application that's happening is that neither the Dunkin' Donuts nor Sal's Pizza are proposed to have any seating. There are no tables, there are no chairs. It's simply a takeout process.
Right.
Pizza only and the donut products only are going out the door.
Right.
So we looked at the fact that the septic system was sized for 1,000 gallons per day. We looked at the water meter readings that have occurred and took averages. Dunkin' Donuts has a program where they can account for every cup of coffee that goes out the door, as well as the ice that goes out within iced coffee. They've got a whole chart of numbers which I've looked at, and basically what it came down to, and Jim reported on it very nicely. In fact, I liked his summary better than my own in an email to the board, I believe just today, that what we've done is we've got a septic system that has a capacity of 1,000 gallons per day. We know through water meter readings that we're consuming about 545 gallons per day, so far under the 1,000 gallons. But what we've done with that 545 gallons is we've backed off from that and subtracted from that the Title V anticipated flows for the gasoline island as well as the convenience store, because within Title V, those two uses are specifically called out for in the chart of estimated uses. So we've backed those out, and we've found that from our water meter readings, it shows that Dunkin' Donuts is currently consuming about 128 gallons per day.
What does Jim say, 768 gallons?
768, that is the number that the water meter readings show. From that, and from the calculations of the sales, we know that a lot of that water is going out within the coffee cups
Right.
and is going out with the ice. So that is not entering into the septic system. So by subtracting off the gas islands as well as the convenience store flows, it leaves 128 gallons per day is what is being put into the septic system from the Dunkin' Donuts use. And that is pretty much, just some light wash-up
Right,
of some of the
right.
facilities there.
And the car wash doesn't go in there.
The car wash is not part of this
It's
at
a
all.
different entity.
Has its own system.
So is it a separate parcel?
No,
You
this-
don't own the car wash, do you?
Yeah, we do, it's just, it's completely separate from.
Separate.
Yeah, separate. It used to be separate addresses, I guess they combined them.
Okay.
Now we have 3 addresses sometimes when I get a hearing from there, so, yeah, so it's been, it's all combined now, but there's 2 separate water flow controls.
I remember they put it on.
Understanding you couldn't have 2 different septic systems on the same parcel, but if you have 3 parcels, then
Yeah.
you would actually be able to have 3 septic systems on that parcel.
It was done one time ago. I was present when they put the second set of the car wash itself. So that is independent from the other.
Right. And we just purchased that car wash. That was another thing that we purchased too, to kind of really, as you just said a few minutes ago, kind of looking at a whole business model there. And we thought it was better to have it more under our control and making sure that, the service that Energy North likes to provide is being serviced as well in the car wash, so.
So what we ultimately came down to is a safe assumption that Dunkin' Donuts was using or depositing about 128 gallons per day within the system. Again, keeping us far below the maximum capacity of the system. So what enters in now is we would like to also set up a counter, as I mentioned, for Sal's Pizza. Again, this is not a full-service restaurant like other Sal's facilities are. It's simply a takeout pizza. In fact, a lot of, and Phil, and I'm sorry to forget your last name, Phil is here representing the Sal's Pizza side of this, and I want him to talk to you briefly in a minute about the process itself. But it is not your full-service restaurant. And that's one of our other dilemmas is, again, within Title V, it has many entries for restaurant flows. They're all based on per seat, and again, we have no seats, so I can't base it on that. It even bumps up the numbers if we're on a throughway service area, which, as you can imagine, would be a lot of transient people coming in and out as they travel. It also has an entry for fast food, and we just simply don't fall into any of those categories. So we felt, initially in my earlier conversations with Jim Gariffi, we felt that it was comparable to what the Dunkin' Donuts is. We're providing a food service that goes out the door.
Will you be cooking on site?
No, that's part of what
Yeah,
Phil will
we should know
introduce,
that.
and maybe we ought to just do that right now, is to talk about how this facility is going to set up, in the fact that there is not a lot of cooking, if any, and it's
So-
Phil.
Good evening, Phil McCabe, Director of Operations for Lopoli Company, Sal's Pizza. As you may know, we have multiple locations, but this is unique because it's strictly a takeout. Most of our locations have 40-plus seats, full bathrooms. We have people that come in and sit down and eat on the premises. This is going to be strictly a takeout, so whether it be slices or full pizzas that will go, they'll be put in boxes, or we use paper for the slices. We use plates, paper plates with a bag to go. All the product is made at our commissary. It's a USDA plant. It's produced fresh daily, and we deliver it to all the locations that we have, which would be the same here for the one in Littleton. So the product comes in fresh. It's then stretched out. Our dough is stretched out, sauce is put on it, cheese is put on it, toppings are put on it, it's put in the oven and cooked, put in a box, and then sent out. Very little cleaning is needed. We got a couple of, at the end of the night, you might have a couple of trays and a couple of cutters for cutting the pizzas, that's it. All the boxes, what we call the dough boxes that the product comes in, the cheese bin that the cheese comes in, all those go back to the commissary and are washed and sanitized and then reused again to ship back out.
Right.
So very little cleaning. We really don't have a lot of cleaning in the stores that we have now because of the product coming onto the premises and then the boxes going back to the USDA.
So you're selling only pizza, what about drinking, yes? Drink?
So
They can go to Dunkin' Donuts and buy.
They can go to Dunkin' Donuts, they can get a drink, or with the convenience store, they're going and can get a soda or a water or something of that.
Are you going to have French fries or any other food item?
There was talk of that, but I think when we,
There was an earlier floor plan which Jim had seen, and Jim raised his concerns to me. He says, I see a fryolator and a pasta maker and all these things. All of those items have been eliminated from this floor plan.
I just want to quickly comment on that, if I may. Yeah, just, one of the things about Energy North Group is that we like to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And so, one of the things that's real important to us is we want to become part of the neighborhood, and we felt, looking at the demographics, working with Sal's, that they were really in need of some kind of a service like this, and may not be in need of a fryolator, and may not be in need of a pasta. So we really did want to do the whole thing, pasta making, we wanted to do subs and grilled and all fryolator. But after looking at the notes that were made here, again, in a negotiation type of thought process, we want to do what's best for the neighborhood and best for the town. So we scrapped that and said, let's just go with the full pizza. That's really what we want to get into. That's really what the neighborhood needs, I think. Maybe not so much another sub shop or a grill shop, some more of the pizza. So that's kind of why we did that.
Excuse me, could you just review in more detail, unfortunately, the least attractive aspect of this? The pizzas are delivered to you. I'm going to try to catch up with this. The reason I'm comparing this to an operation that I found in Denver, which I thought only specialized in what do you call it? Forbidden substances. But anyway, it's okay. And all they're doing, then I found two more in LA, but we know about LA. They do everything there. Okay. In both of those cases, almost for the same reason that we have all this vibration, they went to frozen stuff. In other words, those are frozen pizzas or near frozen pizzas. And all the consumer does is parks the car or whatever, picks up the frozen pizza, takes off. The end of the story. You have a second step. You deliver I would say, ready-to-go pizza that has to be cooked on the site. You do the preparation. Do you happen to know, the water part of it is a piece of it. However, I'm curious to know if you have any information at all about the level of oil, grease, and everything, because other than Italy, where mysteriously no oil is ever produced as a byproduct for pizza, I have no idea how they do that. What is the process after? I mean, I'm talking about the boxes that the consumer walks out with. I'm talking about what's left behind in the, what we call the oven.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If they're cleaned on site, obviously it's some sort of metal or ceramic surface that you've got to clean off. Okay, so pick me up post the dirty part.
So you would have we have a conveyor oven, and basically all that is the cook-off that's there. It's a dry substance that gets left in it. It's basically sweeping it out. You're brushing it out like you would a fireplace.
You don't wash that.
There's no washing on the inside of that oven that would be done. The dough comes in raw form. It's already produced, all the ingredients, the oil, the water, everything is already in it. So you're taking out a dough ball, you're putting it on flour, you're stretching it out, you're putting it on a screen. You're then saucing, cheesing, and whatever toppings you
Okay, I
have.
got that part.
Yep.
Okay, so all the ingredients are on there.
Mhm.
Now, it's cooked.
Yep.
And it comes out, it comes
Yep.
off, whatever.
So you have a
Yep.
peel, you put it in the box, you cut it in the box,
Right.
and out it goes.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yep.
I'm talking about what's left behind. You still have a surface that has been...
Baking sheet.
Whatever, I'm interested in that part of it. And what's the residue of the operation? Not the consumer, I understand, walks out with the box. I got that.
I think I get what you're saying. You're saying it's the lip.
So you've got the peel, you've got a couple of cutters, and you have, call it a half a dozen pans that would be washed or wiped down. Could be washed or wiped down. I mean, we have sanitizer in the stores, in some cases we spray, but you can, there'll be a 3-bay sink there, absolutely.
Okay.
But I mean, it's minimal that will be done.
And back to your point about the
Yeah.
greases.
Yeah, that's
This
where I'm...
facility does already have a grease trap in place to handle any of the greases that would be accumulated.
It would be the same setup that we have in our other locations as well.
The setup, in fact, on the septic system is sized for a full-service restaurant.
I'm just trying to get on record
Yeah.
what you guys, are
Yeah.
looking at from the end, where our area of purview is, not...
Absolutely.
That's...
I would just comment, and just say that this is probably, if you wanted to get a food service situation for the public and actually give them an option, this is probably the least that I've seen as far as washing and wearing and cleaning that you could possibly do in that. And that's kind of what, when I talked with the folks here on the board here, I said, look, it's obvious that there's a concern here. So if we're going to be good neighbors and good partners in the town, we got to make we got to cut some things out. So if we really want to expand it, because let's face it, this space that we're not using. So let's try to use it in something that would complement the business.
Is this your first takeout-only location?
We have one up in Hampton Beach that's seasonal, okay? So you walk up to the counter right on the beach, and it's set up very similar to this will be. Product comes in, same way, very minimal cleaning. But it is the first one that, other than the seasonal one, that would be strictly takeout, no seats, and,
Does Hampton Beach have seats?
no.
Are there any benches, I'm trying to picture benches at that location, I'm having a hard time coming up with the image. What's outside that someone could sit down and start consuming,
In our location?
Yes.
No,
no seats.
no.
at Dunkin' Donuts?
No, there's
No
no
seats.
No seats, I just want to make sure that we're, and I'm just going over the same track, yeah.
So because I'm the numbers guy, I want to bring it back to the fact that the Dunkin' Donuts with no seating and minimal food prep, because they bring all their food in, we felt that this was a very similar
Right.
intensity of use. And with the water meter readings that we had, with Dunkin' Donuts being at 128, we said, okay, let's say Sal's is 128 also. And when you're using water meter readings, Title V tells us to double the number to account for peak flows. And so if we double the number, that brings us up to 512 gallons per day. And again, this is a 1,000-gallon system. And add back in the convenience store and the gas islands. We've got a total facility that utilizes 929 gallons per day,
And what's the capacity
and
of
the
the system?
capacity of the system is 1,000.
So you're right close to the full capacity of the system.
We're close.
I think this-
But again, those are estimated numbers, just like a four-bedroom house
Yeah.
is right there at 440
Yeah,
gallons per
I think
day.
that's the warning signal that you're very close to the full.
And the CMR, I think, builds that in, right? So if you read the CMR and it advises that, because it's an unknown, the number's an unknown, double it, just to be safe. So the point is, when you double it, which is, there's no way you're gonna, in my opinion, you're gonna do over 300 gallons. We're comparing the Dunkin' to our Sal's, and I feel like, in my opinion, it's gonna be a lot less than the Dunkin's, because I have a honeydew in one of my locations, and we have used water. I mean, they're brewing water, they're cleaning out the baskets every time they have to do it. There's a lot more water usage, because you're rinsing it out every single time. So there's like a little holder that you put the coffee brewer in. And so that's not happening with us. So if you were to try to equate those, and then everything's washed at the end of the night too, whatever they're using for service. So, again, just kind of bear in mind that those type of things that would have caused us to have more water are being taken off-site. There's trays, dough comes in, we take the dough out, the trays don't get washed, he washes them. Cheese bins, same thing, goes out, they wash them at that commissary. So I tried to find a business, Hydria's, even other than Sal's, that we could possibly put in there to maximize our potential and give to the community something that they could use. And it doesn't make any sense. This would be the best one as far as low water consumption, which everybody's concerned with.
That's a nice
Well, if you have
presentation.
your, Hampton Beach must have a similar, if you could tell us what your numbers are from Hampton Beach.
So it's not, the water usage isn't separated out, it's, the casino is one large facility.
In preparation
No, we
for that
tried.
meeting, I said, you have to give me
We tried, yeah, so I mean,
Don't break them out.
it's not broken out, there's
I know.
multiple locations there.
I know we have limited time tonight, so I just wanted to go through Jim's concerns that he sent in his email.
Yeah, we always read
We have
his
it here
letter.
too.
Yeah,
Let me reiterate what I like to tell you. If the board, if you're going to consider the additional use of this location, the following needs to occur. I will recommend requesting information from the applicant on what operation and maintenance function has changed to prevent the failure of the system. The effluent no longer receive pre-treatment before discharge to the leach field. The applicant needs to apply DEP for a flow determination in accordance with the 310 CMR 15 2203-6 in order to determine if the existing system has the necessary capacity. So did you talk to Jim about this?
Wait a minute, before you do that, I'd like to read
Oh,
it
go
from
ahead,
the
Ann.
beginning,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay?
Sure.
So 25 King Street, this is from Jim Gareffi. I have reviewed the calculations and explanation regarding the proposed additional food service operation at this site. I would like to address the methods for determining the septic system sizing and the history of the previous septic system, but first, some facts about the site. The property in question borders a wetland area and has multiple uses / structures which limit the area available for sewage disposal system. The design flow for a site can be determined by one of two methods, utilizing the flow chart attached from Title V, 310 CMR 15.203, or if the flow is unique and not addressed in the chart mentioned above, the applicant can apply to DEP for a determination of flow based on water meter readings from like facilities. It's 310 CMR 15.203-6. If approved, this flow would be used for the design of a sewage disposal system. The building in question is of mixed use. Some uses, gasoline islands, retail space, have flows in the aforementioned chart. Takeout food establishment, Dunkin' Donuts, and proposed sales don't. The daily water use for the site, as reported by the applicant, has averaged 768 gallons per day, and the applicant has suggested a significant amount of the water leaves the building as coffee and ice. I'm not sure how the determination of the ice is made. The applicant presented a septic system design flow calculation for the Dunkin's facility by taking the actual water use meter readings for the building, subtracting the coffee and ice use reported, and further reducing the actual water use by the other uses on the property, gasoline island and retail space flows from the aforementioned chart. The applicant is proposing to use this figure for the estimated flow from the proposed new takeout restaurant. In using the calculations noted above, the applicant believes the flow would not exceed the existing capacity of the system. Here are my concerns with the proposal. Number one, Dunkin's does minimal food prep and therefore therefore the required dishwashing and equipment cleaning would less than a facility that is more food prep intensive. Two, the proposed Sal's Kitchen plan includes equipment that would indicate more potential for grease and increased food preparation, fry later and pasta cooker, but that's
We know,
not in
take it all
there.
out.
That's been taken out.
Yep.
More cleaning and dishwashing would be anticipated with more food preparation, so that's not an issue anymore. Number three, the previous sewage disposal system, which included a treatment tank, a fast tank, failed in less than 10 years from the uses currently on site. Number four, even by the applicant's calculations, the addition of the cells put the proposed sewage flow very close to the system's maximum, and based on the past system failure, it is difficult to recommend adding flow. If you were going to consider the additional use at this location, the following needs to occur. I would recommend requesting information from the applicant on what operational and maintenance functions have changed to prevent the failure of the system. The effluent no longer receives pre-treatment before discharge to the leach field. Number two, the applicant need to apply to DEP for a flow determination in accordance with 310 CMR 15.203-6 in order to determine if the existing system has the necessary capacity.
So again, I just want to quickly respond to the four concerns he had. Jim was under the understanding from me, before I found out the exact food prep issues, he was under the understanding there was much more food being offered here, and we've scaled back the proposal to lessen that intensity that he feels is there. As you said, as you read it, the fryer-later and pasta cooker and other facilities have been removed from the plan, so that concern is alleviated. He mentions the previous system failed in less than 10 years, and I want to remind you that systems can last for many, many years, decades even. A lot of the life of a system is based on the owner and the use.
Maintenance.
And again, I've mentioned that Energy North is a new owner. The failure took place under an old
System.
former owner.
Yeah.
I can't testify to how he treated the system or cared for it, but I do know that Energy North has facilities
Takes care of it.
all over this area, and they're meticulous about how they maintain their sites. We can review with Energy North, proper pumping schedules and whatnot. And then the fourth comment, the calculations put us very close to the system maximum. Again, remember, Title V numbers, as well as our requirement of doubling our water flows, are, I like the term, it's like belts and suspenders. We've got added factors of safety in all of the Title V numbers, and those are the ones that we're using and the ones that we're claiming in this proposal that shows that we are under the full capacity of this system. So we would like your understanding of what we're proposing here tonight, and if what we say seems to make sense, we would then take this to DEP to show them our number series to show that we are less than the maximum capacity of this
I
system.
think that'd be the best thing you can do,
I have a
and then
question.
come back to us.
Do you know why the previous system failed?
Every time a system fails, I always wonder, why did that fail? And I do not know. And quite often, you never find out. What was it? Was it the pound of bacon that the family cooked every Saturday morning and dumped the grease down the drain? Or was the septic tank not pumped? Did a truck drive over it? We never know. In this particular case, we don't know why.
And you have a Presby in there now?
We have a Presby in there, which, from me keeping track of our own systems that we've designed with, Presby has an excellent track record. And then my own personal feelings about the system that was in there, it was a pressure-dosed system. Those are the systems with very small lines with the orifices carved in them. I always feel that those type of systems have a high degree of threat to clogging all those orifices. Could that be what happened? Maybe, but I don't know. I hold a lot of faith in the Presby, and that's why we went with that for this design.
And it is a treatment.
And it is a
Yeah,
treatment,
right.
absolutely.
Yeah, the numbers are, 926. I think that's pretty close, but I feel like the numbers are doubled in Title V, so you have some wiggle room there.
And Title V numbers also are trying to mimic any peak flow. Let's talk about a household, because you're used to dealing with those. It's not attributing that 440 gallons evenly throughout the day. It's got a spike in the morning and then a spike in the evening. And the system is sized to handle those spikes. And so the numbers that we use are high. I mean, I don't think any four-bedroom house, unless there's a party going on every day, is ever going to use 440 gallons. But the systems are sized that way. So there's a lot of factors of safety built in.
Now, I'm just curious, you had mentioned you had 3 parcels, and you have 2 septic systems in place.
It's addresses, so I don't know exactly if it's back address or front address. Again, there was a convenience store, and then there was a mechanics, and there was a car wash, so that's kind of why they had 3 addresses there. I think that the mechanics bay and the C-store were probably one, a parcel, and then the car wash is a second parcel, but I do know for sure that there's 2 septic systems, one that took care of, as you said before, the building that we have currently, a convenience store in Duncan, and the other that took care of the car wash.
I'm just curious if it's feasible, since you do have 3 addresses, if a third system in form of a tight tank or something like that could be put in place to handle the grease and the
I
concerns.
don't think there's room for that, and you couldn't propose something new on a tight tank.
And I think, and to answer your question, the other thing is
Repairs.
that the 3 addresses just is that, it's like a A and B type of address, doesn't mean that there's 3 parcels. I think you're saying 3 parcels.
Right, that's what I
3
was...
parcels, I don't think we'd be here right now, right?
Right.
So we'd probably just be installing a new septic in the 3rd parcel, but the addresses are really just to kind of
Just
where the mail
Right,
goes,
where the mail is.
So it says here, Jim is asking, it says the effluent no longer receives pre-treatment.
The previous system had a FAST system. It was a mechanical device within the septic tank itself to provide more pre-treatment prior to entering into the leach field. What's in the ground now is a Presby system. It has an initial primary treatment within the septic tank, but then it goes on to the leach field, and the Presby piping itself is treatment in itself.
Okay.
It's just a different format.
So the only thing really that you need to move forward is the confidence that the flow, I'm looking at item number 2 recommended. I don't see any particular, other than time, which is easy for me to say, but time to get that kind of number from
Yeah,
the DEP.
We are, right, we are looking for confidence, to use your word, confidence that the board understands where our numbering system comes from. It makes sense to you that we're not overloading the system, and you're basically endorsing us to move forward to DEP to say, does DEP buy these numbers? And then, once they issue their approval, we can get a permit.
Okay. The issue here is that how can we prejudge all we can say that we can strongly, I mean, from my point of view, we can recommend that you get this estimate, all right? Because this means that the major criterion that that hasn't been addressed, that is, as you pointed out, the capacity, the current capacity, according to your own calculations, is near the max, right? So, item number 2, merely, shall we say, from DEP, will say, you're good.
Right.
So if you came back to us with that DEP
I have
flow
no problem.
approval.
If I could, for
Sure.
a second, one of the things I'm a little confused about here, and this is great, we're gonna do this, but, so on the CMR, what it tells us is that it says, here's what the gas station is, here's what the C-store is. We backed those out, and then we had a number. From that number, we went to items that aren't identified in that list, and it tells you within the CMR that when you do that, for safety reasons, if it's not listed there, you double the gallon usage, and then you're good. So even in the CMR, from the state, following their regulations, we have the calculation made out by the rules of conduct, I would say, okay, there. So we feel like, it's kind of like, it's one of those things where we've done what the state has already asked us to do. And I guess the point that we're trying to make here is that if you require us to, we can still go back to the same entity that wrote the CMR and wrote that rule and say, hey, did we calculate this right, if that's what you want. To me, I feel like we've already followed those rules very diligently, because, again, we're going to go back there and say, what's going to actually happen? I'll tell you what's going to, in my opinion, just being a layman, but 5,000-foot view, is they're going to say, you don't have to double that. If you're going to come here for me, this is the water usage. This is what we're going to, we're only doubling it because of the fact that we're saying we want to be absolutely positive. And it says that when you don't have the knowledge or history on anything, it says double that, the most likable use. So we're saying the Dunkin' Donuts, if we doubled it, even doubled the Dunkin' Donuts use, we would still be under it. So we're, I think, I wanted to make sure that we clarified that, where it was, we've already kind of went through the CMR, we already went through the state statute and did all the things at the worst-case scenario. I think they're going to come back and say, yeah, you guys have like 500 gallon flow here, if you really think about it, because I'm sure at some point that, but I guess that is really for your boards and for Mr. Graffi to be able to calculate it without going to the board itself, for the state. It says it right in there. I mean, there's a paragraph in there, maybe you could.
I have seen it dealt with in 2 ways.
Yep.
I've seen it dealt with where we have this discussion and the board agrees with our numbers and we move forward in the process. I've also seen some towns take a more in-depth look at it, and they do send it off to DEP for their judgment. And I'm even reading here, prior to making a determination, the department will consult with the local approving authority. And again, that's why I wanted to make sure that you were understanding of where we stand.
Here's just a point of view about regarding these kinds of new, I'll call them relatively new, 5-year-old approaches, to dispensing food, is that for Littleton, quote, it's new. I mean, as far as I know, there's no one else doing that. And there may be a great future for it. So you're sort of the pioneers. As far as I'm concerned, the request that you go to the state, you basically establish a marker. Okay? So anybody else who wants to do a food distribution with very limited, scrubbing and dumping and stuff, okay, Sal's is the hero. Okay?
And if the state does come back and say, well, you're only at 500, does that give you the opportunity to add back the pasta, and does it give you an opportunity to add back the fry later?
Yeah,
type of
trying
thing?
to make it easy for you guys.
I realize it's easy for one of us to say go back and not go back, but go to the state and get it. But I would say there are a lot of pluses for it, because this might be probably won't be the only site, I'm guessing from a business model point of view, that opens up for you in and around Littleton. That's my suspicion.
And more so in the state. so.
Yeah.
So again, I guess we tried to prepare two different ways tonight. We tried to prepare where, you could have it approve, a piece of paper and a calculation where you could approve tonight if you felt that that was what you wanted to do and get us moving along, or we could go to the state and do that, and then come back to you and try to get the pasta and the grease and to me, it's like, I'd rather just get this process. We've been in this since April. If you saw the application, we've been hanging in there since April, trying to get this moving forward. So I'm not afraid of going to the state, but again, it opens up something that, I don't think the board really wants. I don't know that you guys really want another fryer later place and a pasta place and all these other things.
Hold it. I don't think
The
the
state says the
endorsement,
capacity's lower, you know what I mean?
there's been no endorsement here of a fryer later at the end of the
No,
the
I get you.
rainbow.
I guess
okay?
what I was saying, depending on what the state comes back with,
Yeah.
I'm happy with it whichever way you guys want us to go forward. I just wanted to have A and B for you to be able to choose from.
So it would be great, since the state doesn't have you on the list, okay? It basically tied Jim's hands. I have no idea what his response would be from a technical point of view. He may have agreed with you. I think what we got here is a problem where there is, unfortunately, government decides they regulate what they can regulate, and here we got to regulate, okay? And unfortunately, you're not on the list. Unfortunately, you're not on the list. So it would be great if you could come back to us, in my view, and I'm only one of us here tonight, to basically get the state to say, your flow's fine. Tell the Littleton boys that they should, boys and girls, that we're all set.
But you don't have to do all that stuff, even if the DEP will say, okay, everything's fine.
Yeah, we just
Go
want to
get
do
your,
pizza.
go get your permit,
In reality.
and that's it. And I know it's a little inconvenient, but just, I think that's what the agent, and we trust on the agent, you know what I mean? And for the,
Yeah, and Jim and I have had
Consultation.
many conversations
Yeah,
about this,
yeah.
but this is the first time that he's mentioned, going to the state. So
Yeah.
I was under the impression that if he followed my numbers, he would endorse to you that
no,
everything's
we
fine.
understand that. The question is, I'm sorry that it might cause maybe a delay of a week or so, but we are ready to give you the permit as long as you can just follow through,
We will do that,
yeah,
follow through.
Someone want to make a motion?
to continue.
Want to continue it?
Yeah.
Continue.
I make
That way
a,
you're,
Well,
I make a motion to continue.
I would suggest that perhaps I get into DEP to get their answers, and then I will be back in contact with you
And then you get your
to
permit.
follow up.
And we all sign
that
it.
still require, like, keep that in, if they come back with, shall we say, you're fine,
Mhm.
okay, then, 20 seconds here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, right.
yeah.
Because you know the story already, right?
Could
Yeah,
I
I mean,
could I make a
we
motion?
wouldn't have to go through the same.
I would make a motion to approve this as long as the DEP says your flows are acceptable and you submit a maintenance plan to prevent the system from failing. Sure.
Yeah, I second it.
All in favor?
Aye, that's fine.
Aye.
All right?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Forget pasta, nothing.
We'll do our homework. Get back to you.
I think it's a great location. The high school is right across the street.
Thanks for your time.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
That's great.
Couple of days.
Good luck.
I'll be the first one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Test it out, it's really good.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
I was gonna make the motion. You seconded, beat me to
Oh, you
it.
just kept yapping.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, sorry, we're running a little late, so the next property is 24 Cricket Lane.
I use the easel.
You should, yeah.
Absolutely, that's there.
We're gonna see it. My name is Jack Maloney. I'm from Fuchsia Armendillis. Here on behalf of Steve Johnson and Young Lee.
Thank you.
This is at the end of Cricket Lane. Cricket Lane comes back this way, back towards Speck Pond Road. We have an existing two-bedroom house, shallow well somewhere on the property, and a cesspool. We are proposing a jet tank system, pump chamber, up to 2 leaching galleys up on the hill with a little poly barrier that wraps around the low side to help prevent any breakout. It's all gravel. It is a small lot. We're proposing a new well. It's basically a shallow well,
Wash well.
A wash well, sorry. This system and this well are the same type of system that was proposed on 22 Cricket Lane.
You have any other house in that area?
There's 3 other
Okay,
cabins down here.
yeah, yeah,
2 of them here are falling in.
okay.
This one here has been used for storage of kayaks and canoes and stuff, not
No
habitable.
home at all.
That flooded, right?
Sure.
That bottom one?
This one here?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It sits up probably 5 or 6 feet off the lake, but I'm not quite sure. But the other 2, the roofs are coming in.
Yeah.
Nobody's been there
So
for
you put a swell too, you say, you're gonna put a swell?
a well right here.
Oh, you're gonna put a well,
A well,
a well,
yes, a new well, a wash well, shallow well.
okay.
I think you wanted to.
Could you just switch around, I can get a shot of the
So this 100 feet
Oh.
away.
other side.
See, look at the
You
top.
stand on the other side.
Oh,
Other,
How can I help them?
if you look at the television, it's
Well, it's about 100 feet away,
right over there.
you know that? From the house.
yeah.
There you go.
How far the well's gonna be with the new well? How far is it from the building?
From the building itself?
From the septic, anyway.
You're more than 50 feet away from the septic. Let me grab my notes, sorry.
Usually it's about 100 feet, just to let you know.
We're less than 100 feet,
Right, so you also,
and that's why we are
Very-
proposing the jet tank system,
Oh,
the
I
treatment
see.
system.
Have you seen the health agent's comments on
I
this?
have.
Okay.
Yep.
we'll remind you too.
If I can just read them off of here. We're looking for Regulation 29, effluent T filters. Every new septic design and upgrade shall require an outlet T filter. We have a jet tank system that doesn't allow for that. We're also looking, 226-6A2, location requirements, leaching facility to a well in 2-minute per inch soils. 150 feet are required. We have 70 feet. 226-6A2, location well to a septic tank, 50 feet. We are provided 35 feet. 226-6A2, well to a sewer line, 50 feet. We have 31 feet. 226-6A2, location requirements, well to a property line should be 50 feet, we have provided 6. And 226-7G, construction standards, pump suction lines, if used, shall not be any closer than 100 feet to the septic system, we have provided 70 feet. And then we have Title V local upgrade approvals, 15405-1B, system location setback from cellar wall, 10 feet. We have 5 feet, and that would be for the tank. 4051B, maximum allowable depth of septic components to be 36 inches below grade. We have 56 inches to the top of the galleys. 6 feet is the max. 4051G, system location setback from private well, 100 feet. We have 70 feet. 4051K.
From which well is 70 feet?
Our well.
And what about the neighbor?
The neighbor's well is more than 100 feet away.
What about the other one?
They have, again, these are inhabitable or non-habitable, but there's
You got
2-inch,
wells, right?
2-inch black pipes that go into the ground here and here. And we couldn't find one on this building here.
Would it be feasible for those 2 parcels to have wells at some point down the road that are outside of the 100-foot radius?
I would think so, if they could, possibly get a septic system in there. They'd be looking at a tight tank for those 3 parcels.
So that thing, those 2 lots are buildable then too, huh? You don't
That's
know.
not up to me,
Right, right, you don't know.
that's
Yeah,
up
we're not
to,
talking about those.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And the last one was one deep hole showing soil testing from house 22. So we've got 1 test hole here, and then we showed the test hole over here. We should have 2 test holes in our area. We've provided 1, but we've also shown the testing here. So it's consistent, it's sand and gravel, we get down about 10 feet.
Why didn't you do 2 on your parcel?
Just due to small area, and by the time we get done digging the 2 holes,
Right next
you'd
to
be
each
digging
other.
up the whole place, yeah, because it's bony gravel. It may, size of the hole to
I
start
think he's
with.
okay with that. As long as he does put a tight tank. Did you read that?
So Jim and I had talked about this from the very beginning, about the tight tank situation here. Title V says unless it's the last possible
Resort.
use, resort, that's why we have all these variances or local upgrade approvals down below that allow us to do that.
Right.
The 150 feet from the Littleton regulations is probably the bigger one that, we have to swallow on that. But in Title V, it doesn't talk about, 2-minute soils versus 30-minute soils and the distance offset between, so.
Well, you want to read that time?
I'll be happy to read Jim's.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. This is Jim's report 24 Cricket Lane. The assessors list this property as a 2-bedroom seasonal camp. There is no septic system records on file at the Board of Health for this property, but given the relative locations of the wells for the various properties, I would consider the existing system, whatever exists, in failure. Soil testing was conducted and a design for replacement system has been presented and reviewed by this office. The site has a number of constraints that make the installation of a fully compliant Title V system impossible. Small lot size and wells. The proposed design requires many local variances and local upgrade approvals from Title V. A bulk of the variances and local upgrade approvals relate to the installation of a new well for the site and the offset of that well from the proposed and existing septic systems. The designer includes a treatment septic tank jet system to provide effluent treatment before it is discharged. Though well locations on the abutting lots may be unknown, it is likely they are within 100 feet for the proposed leaching area and should have been notified as part of this request. The board recently considered a replacement system on the adjacent lot, number 22. Though some of the requested variances are similar to those requested for this lot, offset of the proposed leaching area to proposed well, number 22, and property line offset to well, number 22, is a little larger lot, and its upgrade would seem to affect fewer abutting lots, though these lots don't appear to have been inhabited for some time, including this site. The house at number 22 was not listed as a seasonal dwelling. Though the proposed system for number 24 provides treatment of the wastewater, the site is extremely small, and the installation of the well and septic system would further compound replacement systems at number 26 and number 28. Septic systems and well location unknown. I would not recommend the granting of the variances for the proposed system, but instead would recommend the installation of a tight tank and a new well.
What do you think?
Again, Jim and I have gone round and round with this since the start of this, so we've proposed treatment and a septic system that would work with the regulations, the local upgrade approvals that we can ask for.
With the new development going in nearby there, what's the feasibility of town water?
From what I understand, this is pretty much an association. I could be wrong. It's a private road anyway, which doesn't have access coming off of that development to bring water down here. So it would be pretty expensive. Then you'd have to get the neighbors on board to pay for it, because the town's not going to pay for it.
Personally, I think there are too many variances, and that I think that you should have to go to a tight tank. I agree with what Jim's saying. I don't know if anybody else wants to make a motion, or...
I mean, again, we've provided a system with treatment that meets
The
requirements with local upgrade approvals, which DEP allows just for these certain circumstances. That's why they have that whole section 15405, is in case you can't, meet property line offsets, well offsets, stuff like that. The other 3 lots that are in here, are very tiny, this one's very steep. It's pretty much built out off the ground with stilts underneath it. This one actually, the back half of this over the water, yeah, and both of those are falling in. Granted, at some point, somebody could try to rebuild that. Those are definitely, because of the size of those lots, which are probably half the size of our lot, definitely gonna be tight tanks, plus the proximity to the water there. So,
Did you notify the abutters?
I gave Secretary the green cards,
Is there any
yes.
abutters here? Any abutters here?
Sounds like they're abandoned.
Yeah, it look like, I don't know.
Well, somebody in the neighborhood uses this one for, like I said, kayak storage,
Somebody's
canoe
bought that,
storage.
actually. The owner you have listed there is not the owner.
This recent one?
Yeah.
Okay, that came off the GIS website when we did the plans,
It's
so.
not up to date.
But we did get a certified list of abutters.
Yeah, it's not your fault.
No, no,
Yeah.
certified list would be
Yeah.
up to date
Yeah.
versus the GIS, so. So whoever's on record at that time.
On the board, do you want to make a motion? Go ahead. Oh, the good one you kept yourself, and now I get to deal with this, all right? Oh, that's a nice friend. I will exclude you from my inheritance. All right.
Is there a particular reason, or is it expense, or is it just, you don't want to feel that it's necessary to follow the tight tank approach? I mean, I'm just, if the idea is to make use of this property in a different, to make use of it than what you have in mind, is this just not worth doing?
It's still gonna be a two-bedroom residence, that's not gonna change.
Okay, so, what I'm asking is that, is the tight tank make it, and the recommendation to do it, is that in some way impede your,
It is a cost factor,
okay,
over time, because, you're putting in a minimum 2,000 gallon tank. So however often that fills up, that's gonna, have a cost effect on that.
Okay.
But we're also, again, we're spending the extra money for the jet tank, which is gonna have maintenance and testing requirements too, so.
And the leach field is gonna be okay for
The
them?
leach field is buried in the bank up here. There are two concrete chambers, end to end, with a couple of feet of stone around them. They're basically shallow pits.
Well,
I can make a motion if you want.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I'd like to make a motion to deny this request. The board would prefer to see a tight tank in this situation.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yes. Okay, next up is 17 Spruce Street.
You can come back and look again. Hold it up here.
That's fine.
Good evening.
Hold it up here.
For the record, Joe Pesnola from Hancock Associates, filling in for Brian Gaudreau, who took ill this afternoon and called me and asked me to
You didn't want to come see us?
pinch hit. I think he had a stomach bug, and you're probably glad that he didn't come see you. We are here for 17 Spruce.
Oh, this is where? Howland Avenue?
It's Turkey Estate. We've been before this board previously on a couple of the lots out here with regards to the proposed variance. And the variance is for perk rate. We've got a 37-minute perk rate. The plan that was originally submitted to the board did have a retaining wall. And that was in Jim Griffey's comments, some related comments to the retaining wall. This plan that I passed out tonight, dated 9/27, revises that to eliminate the retaining walls, but it does to introduce some grading easements on Lot 18
and lots 50 and 51, which are actually on the K Estates subdivision, which is the same developers. So we have addressed the remainder of Jim's comments with regards to adding some spot grades and some notes to the plan.
So you're going to do an easement?
And we'll do the easements. So prior variances granted by this board had conditioned that the applicant provide a plan showing the necessary easements for the placement of the fill on the abutting lots. And all the lots that 18, 50, and 51 are still in the control of the developer. They haven't been sold. So we would respectfully request the board consider.
If you're able to do the easement, why can't you make this lot a little bit larger so it'll work with the perk rate?
Well, 50 and 51 are actually on a different subdivision. Durkee Estates was an open space subdivision, so that's why the lot's smaller, which is why we're here with the variance. 50 and K Estates was actually done as a conventional, so those lots are larger. And it's crossing that line and going from a special permit open space subdivision and mixing into a non-open space subdivision. So it's two approvals, two different trips back to the planning board to make those changes. I would like to entertain this first, but certainly is worst case an option for us.
How many bedrooms?
4 bedrooms.
All of them?
Yes. Yeah, we've done 4 bedrooms on all of these, all of the systems.
Have we done easements in this development before?
Yes, we've done easements.
On the sides?
Yeah.
Not across to the different development?
Not-
In
between the houses to make
In
them more-
between the lots,
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
But not crossing the two projects, if you will. But again, it's the same owners.
How many homes right now in this lot? How many homes
In
in this particular,
30.
right now?
In Durkee, as far as completed,
Yeah.
I think 18 and 19 are the only 2 left.
How many are in the next phase?
32?
But those are, that's not the open space layout, is that what you're
It's not the open space, they're
So
full,
there should not be a-
full lots. Yeah.
So we should not have this easement issue?
Perk rate
On those?
issue?
No.
Yeah, it's more of a perk rate issue.
So we-
I mean, I voted last time against it because of the perk rate, and I'd like to see it expand the lot to make it conform. But you got 3 now.
In your previous plan, if you had just put in the wall, there would have been no easement, is that correct?
Correct.
Why can't we do that?
He's here for the perk rate.
I mean, if I had my druthers as an engineer, I'd rather the easement than
Less
the
costly.
wall. And the walls, there's always questions with especially if the wall's going to intercept breakout. Is the liner done right? Is it going to be a problem long term? The grading easement.
And it'll be in back of the new house, and who's gonna wanna look at that?
Right. My goal in septic design is always to avoid avoid walls first.
I appreciate that.
That's a last result. And I don't, easements are
Piece of paper.
easier. I mean, from the standpoint of, especially if
Same owner.
when all a single owner for all 4 lots right now. So can be easily put in place, and then the property owners know that they're there. Easements are all within the side yard setbacks, so so it's not diminishing of the value of the lots as far as being able to enjoy those areas and put sheds on those areas, or pools, or what have you. So,
Let me
Because-
read Jim's eloquent prose.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. 17, Spruce Street, there seemed to be some confusion as to whether or not a retaining wall was required for the necessary breakout fill for the leaching area. I have attached a copy of the proposed plan that shows the necessary breakout fill per Title V in blue, the lot line in orange, and the proposed retaining wall in yellow. Without the proposed retaining wall, the fill would cross the lot line, and an easement onto the abutting property would be needed. We'll stop. So you got the easements.
Right?
Okay.
Okay. Someone want to make a motion?
But we're talking about the perk rate, not the wall or the easement.
Why?
It doesn't say much, but
I'm sorry, Kevin, unfortunately, I was elsewhere, and if it's not proper, I'll withdraw my request. Could you succinctly, or however you want to, just describe your concern about going the easement route?
Oh, I'm not, I'd rather they go the easement route.
Oh, you would? I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I'm sorry.
they're requesting the variance because the perk rate's too high for the size of the lot.
Gotcha, okay, sorry.
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay, so, do you want to make a motion to go ahead with the easements?
Yeah, sounds to me that's where we are.
Yeah.
Make a motion in regard to 17 Spruce Street, that the permit be issued on the condition that that the use of the easement on the abutting property gets used, as described in the plan.
Dated
when they build a wall then?
no, easement.
9/27, dated.
Yep.
Good question.
Motion was made?
Anyone
Yep.
want to second that?
I second it because it gave me trouble, it's going.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
We're just voting on the easement?
on the easement?
Voting on easement, right? Okay.
I'll vote yes on the easement. Sure.
All right.
That's
I
what
said
we're
the
doing.
wall,
Okay,
no.
that's all we're doing.
Said the wall no, right? All right, locked up.
So, perk rate?
Great.
Okay. That's the way.
It's 37 and it's supposed to be under 30.
Under 30.
Does getting that easement help to enlarge the area?
They make
You'll
it
have
easy?
to educate me a little bit.
Yeah,
Enlarge the area so that the perk rate that you did get would be more acceptable?
no, we have to get up to a compliant 40,000 square foot lot, and we can't use
What are you at now?
easement area to do that.
27?
I thought it was 26.
Yeah, it's 27, 26, somewhere in that 20 range. So it'd be a significant amount to add to it, but,
Did
you
you
know,
have,
I think,
do you have the lots laid out for the other? Do you know how exactly big they are?
yeah, the definitive subdivision for K Estates has been approved, so,
Are they 40,000 or?
yeah, they're in the 40s and 50s. There's no real large lots there.
Is there any chance you can take 7,000 from 50 and 7,000 from 51 and have them be buildable and get enough area to be, to comply?
I'd have to look at it. It's going to depend on the test locations in our suitable area for septic. You know, I think looking at the rationale for the original local requirement to have perk rates on smaller lots that were lower would be the size of the system and how much loading was happening overall. And we've argued this on the 3 times past that we've applied for this variance on Durkee, that from the loading standpoint, we have all this open space. So we have the area for 40,000 square foot per lot, and that's upland area. So we went through that with the planning board. And then you subdivide to smaller lots and put that land aside as open space. So from a nitrogen loading standpoint, we still have the 40,000 square foot per lot, theoretically. And then for just
But these people don't own it.
the physical area, they own it.
The new buyers won't own the other piece of the open space.
No, this, lot 19 is part of the open space subdivision, so they own stake in the open space itself. But as far as environmentally, it's, what I'm getting at is that the loading is, overall, for the area, has the benefit of 40,000 square foot per house lot. When you add the 20,000 square foot lot and the open space that was there. Because we couldn't get more lots than we were allowed. The way that you calculate an open space subdivision is you do a conventional layout and say, okay, I've got 30 lots conventionally at 40,000 square feet. But I'm going to build them at 20,000, and I'm going to take all that excess land, I'm going to make open space. So.
Problem is our local regs say that.
No, I understand and appreciate. I'm just trying to give some backup for that. And the second point is just the physical area on a smaller lot. Can you put the system in? So I think proof is in the pudding that, you know, we've presented a design that fits. And these are large houses, so it's not always easy, but we've got it in there.
So this foundation is already existing? It's already
It's
started?
right there, right?
Yes.
It's not like,
It says right there, existing
Mhm.
concrete foundation.
yeah.
I mean, I would make a motion to continue until they can determine whether there can be additional square footage taken from lots 50 and 51 on the other development.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Take a look and get back in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you know you don't have to be here?
No,
31 Shattuck?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Oh, I thought you were.
Oh, he's with Haley, okay.
What about 9?
Yeah. 9 Reed Lane.
I was like, I'll be pissed.
You just enjoy the seat, right?
I
Remember, we charge under $50 an hour.
was hoping you'd upgrade me to one of those ones over there.
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, boy.
My name is John Barbadaro, and I live at 9 Reed Lane, and that's the village of Reed Meadow, 55-plus community. And I was applying for a building permit to finish some area in my basement, and Jim said I should come in front of the board.
What do you got?
Well, this is the plan of what I'm proposing to finish. And I've also, when I submitted the letter to the board, I also have the deed restrictions on the property that state it's going to be a two-bedroom, and I'm not adding any bedrooms, I'm not expanding the footprint, which in the planning board, when the rules were written, said I can do the basement, but I can't expand the footprint, and if I did, I'm supposed to come in front of the Board of Health and the planning board. But we're not changing the footprint of the house at all. We're enclosing some areas in the basement area.
Is this shower already there?
The bathroom was done, yeah, in
It's a full bathroom, correct?
full bath, yeah, a shower. What do they call it, a three-quarter bath? And that was approved back in 16.
But none of the other walls on the interior? Just the
No,
bathroom?
They were not, just the bathroom was approved.
Do you have the upstairs floor plan too?
I don't have that with me. It's a two-bedroom upstairs.
Just a kitchen and
A kitchen, a
Dining
great
room,
room.
living room.
Yeah, and two bedrooms.
so how many rooms total do you have upstairs, existing?
Do you have 5 rooms total?
You count the bathrooms as,
No.
okay. So you got two bedrooms, got a kitchen, and you got a great room.
All right. Then you know how the Title V reads, you take the number of rooms upstairs divided by,
Good, yeah, and go to the lower number.
right.
There's
So if
also
you
been,
add- if you- So, yeah, so you have a total of 4 rooms now, and if you add 3 more, that's a total of 7.
yeah,
Means you need a 3-bedroom septic tank.
They can't put a septic, not enough
Septic
room,
system.
not enough room for a septic system.
What we have done in the past, if there are 5 rooms, then we can, with the 2-bedroom deed restriction, then we can allow the 5th room. So if there's a way for you to take down some of these interior walls in the basement,
If you just make it one
that would be
open area.
that would be something we could do. So the shop is all unfinished.
Yeah.
So, I mean, could you combine game room, media room with the exercise room and the office?
yeah, I mean, basically, there's just the wall of the bathroom there anyways. It's not, you could consider that one because it's not partitioned off or closed off by a doorway or anything, and
Right. So if you kill this wall and...
I can take out the dividing room, so the exercise equipment's exposed, I mean.
Right, I feel like if you would take down this wall right here only, then
I'm sorry.
between the game room and
Yeah.
the exercise room, I feel like you might be able to say that this is all
Can I
one.
see that plan,
Sure.
please?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want me to do, then I'll do it. I understand the rule. I do have a question about that rule because the fact that it is a basement. Another thing would be is if I left the exercise room unconditioned, then it's not considered a room anyways. It'd be just like the shop, which I'd be willing to do that too, so.
I would rather see, like Kevin's saying, like one large area.
But isn't that the rule, though, that if this is petitioned off as a storage space and it's not heated, it's the same as my shop, it's just an area. It's not by Title V or anybody's law considered a room at that point.
So you would make the game area,
And that's it, yeah, the game room will come right through there, and I'll leave the exercise room, but not even petitioned out. I mean, I'll finish this.
so this would be
wall.
away?
Well, I don't know if I'd take that wall out, but I wouldn't drywall it, I wouldn't be conditioned space, it would divide the shop from the sawdust from getting into the exercise room.
I mean, the issue is not so much what you would do, it's what some future owner would do.
I know, and I've heard that, respectfully, I've heard that argument before, but they could still do it if that wall was, the petition was there, or if it wasn't there at a future time.
Excuse me, how many bedrooms do you have?
2.
He's gonna keep,
This is,
So each unit contains how many rooms? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my brain is, I'm thinking it's something totally different. It's, each one of them has 2 bedrooms, a great room, and a kitchen, and then bathrooms.
So the great room really is 2 rooms, because it's dining and living?
There's no wall there, so.
Yeah, but it's the
Yeah.
function of the
Yeah.
room.
Yeah,
So it's really 2 rooms, so there's 5 rooms.
so there's 5 rooms in each unit and 2 bedrooms. That's how the assessor, and that's what we have to use as our, okay. You want me to read Uncle Jim's thing, or have we?
Sure.
Okay. The property in question is a duplex condominium. The septic system for the condo is designed for housing for elderly, 2-bedroom living units in accordance with Title V. The design flow for each unit is 150 gallons per day, 300 gallon per day total. Each unit has 5 rooms and 2 bedrooms according to the assessor's record. Jim, I reviewed the plan for the addition of 3 rooms in the basement of this unit and would not sign off on the applicant for the following reasons. 1, the septic disposal system is already designed slightly smaller than a normal 2-bedroom unit, 150 gallons per day versus 220
But it's over
gallons per day.
55, though.
The lot would not likely support a larger septic system. 2, although the deed for the property restricts the use of the units to 2 bedrooms and age restricts occupancy, there is no way for the board to confirm the units aren't used beyond their capacity. 3, if the other unit owner in this duplex requests a similar permit, this condo could end up with 16 rooms on a septic system designed for less than 3 bedrooms. Number 4, based on my conversation with DEP on a similar project, they don't seem to have an objection to the number of rooms because of the deed restriction. Okay. Number 5, if we were going to agree on or sign off on the additional space in the basement, I would recommend recording language on the condo master deed that would inform all owners that the basements cannot be used as separate living units, and the use of the dwelling beyond the intended use, housing for elderly per Title V, may cause premature failure of the on-site sewage disposal system.
If I may, the homeowners association, the part of the rules and regs, is not only is it restricted to 2 bedrooms, it's restricted to 2 occupants, where if you had 2 bedrooms, conceivably you could have 4 people there. And it's monitored by the homeowners association. So it's not like I've got a 2-bedroom house somewhere and I'm trying to finish off extra rooms. If I had somebody living there longer, that, believe me, my neighbor who hates me would be going to the board and telling them, not the board, the homeowners association.
Yeah, I'm not talking about your integrity or anyone else's here. It has to do with, we have no way of,
Well, you do through the homeowners association.
again, that's, we have no external,
I mean, that can change
yeah.
as new people get voted onto
We
it.
can do a yearly walkthrough if you want.
No,
No.
what we're talking about
I'm
here.
sorry, I just, the area is already being used for an exercise room. I have a TV down there. All I'm talking about is enclosing some space on it, and I'm already willing to tell you that the exercise room, I'll leave that unconditioned, will just be part of the basement. And it's, I understand your rules, and I'm trying, but I just think that it also has been approved in the past. 14 has been finished off. I don't see where it's any different. In the bathroom, I think he didn't like that, but that's already been in and approved, and so that was already put in place back in 16.
Yeah, it could very well be that, that at the moment, there is no, shall we say, consistent message going out there about what you can and cannot do ahead of time. So this is sort of like not new necessarily, but Littleton is not yet adjusted to what we'll call condominiums. I use that term. I mean, I know what they're about. You obviously know what they're about. You've already said about an angry neighbor, so we know all about that. Okay.
Exactly.
So all we're talking about here is that we want to get language on the master deed that would inform all the owners. That's all he has in here. Okay? So that's the condition that he is suggesting to us. Now, whether
okay.
I think it's something that we need to discuss in further detail, that,
Yep.
Each unit shall be used for for residential purpose with each unit to be occupied by not more than 2 adult persons, at least one of whom shall be age 55, and children under the age of 18 may not reside in the dwelling for more than 6 months in an 8-month period. So there's recorded language on the master deed for this already. But I am curious, a question to the board. If I want to drywall the walls around my basement, do I have to get approval from you people to do that?
All building permits get approval from the Board of Health.
Right, but I mean, I understand it has to go through a review. I do understand that. But why can't I stud around my basement? I'm sure you guys have made rooms in your basements before. I don't see just...
Are you going to do electric?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to get a permit.
I'll get a permit for that. I'll get a permit to stud the walls, too.
That has to go before the Board of Health.
Okay, and...
It's just one of the lines on the card that
You would deny it because...
a gym might, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
But I'd like to make a motion if that's all right.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the finishing of one room
And the other one.
and all the other spaces be unconditioned, with the caveat that there's language put into the master deed that the basements can't be used as separate living spaces, and the use of the dwelling beyond the intended use, housing for the elderly, per Title V, may cause premature failure of the on-site sewage
I'm
system.
feeling old when you're saying elderly.
Excuse me?
I mean, maybe.
No, he just said old.
Because
old
I
housing,
feel like
old-age housing.
the floor plan upstairs, like, yeah, the assessor says 5, but nobody uses dining room.
Well, if they don't
And if
have
it's open, then it's open.
eat-in kitchen.
and
Is
it's,
your kitchen an eat-in kitchen, or is your table in the dining room?
No,
Dining room?
table's in the dining, I have a 4-seat breakfast bar, same thing, you know.
I mean, we gotta count it, because it's a
Yeah.
room, but,
Yep.
I mean, maybe one of our discussions is maybe we say like a percent of square footage, can be used as a single room, rather than,
Yeah, I mean, I think we really need a policy just across
Yeah,
the board, which is something we've been talking about, but we never really got to.
One of the things we
That would be easier to just,
Yeah, more
just
percentage.
rubber stamp it.
Of the
Yeah,
of the
right.
finished area.
exactly.
I mean-
Like 25% of the total.
Yeah, I would say
I don't know.
50, but, no, I hear what you're saying, they're beautiful, they look out at the conservation land, and they are walkouts, and they make a great game room, and I didn't think the petition was gonna make that much of a difference. I mean, I'll sign any restriction you want, that it's gonna be 2 people living in that house. I mean, 2-bedroom homes, they're not limited to 2 occupants. You could have 3 people in 1 bedroom and 2 in the other. Now you have 5 in there. And the septic, I can't argue with Jim because he's always right, but it's 2 minute an inch gravel, and that system's where it's set up as 4 bedrooms. And they use the reduced figure. I built the place. I don't know if you know that, but it's...
You should have finished your basement first.
Well, that's why I should have put a restriction, they always be allowed to be finished, and I just didn't think it was a big deal, to be quite honest with you. I love it there, it's a nice neighborhood, except for the one neighbor. And you could ask the other ones there too, they'll say the same thing, and I just didn't think finishing off some rooms down there would count as towards the living space, especially if they're unconditioned. I don't see how you can count it as living space. If you want to, I'll leave the exercise room, I'll leave all the other rooms except the media room and the bathroom as conditioned.
I would prefer to continue it as a discussion for our
Okay.
next meeting.
Okay.
Maybe by then we can come up with a policy.
Yeah.
Second that, Gino?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Sure.
Jim. Did you read that? I feel bad because he only wanted to use it for his work.
Yeah, we're not saying no, we just need to come up with some.
I
So we're consistent.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just looking through, what section does it say, you know, if you have more bedrooms than, you know, you were talking about, well, it's two-bedroom deed restriction, and he has
Because the septic system is too
6
small.
bedrooms, you divide by 2, and that's, you know, your total number of rooms divided by 2, right, and that's where you get your number of bedrooms.
Allowable bedrooms, yeah.
Allowable bedrooms.
Right.
Where does it say that in Title V? I was just poking through, I couldn't find it.
It's in the book.
In the book, let's check.
It's in there somewhere.
So what area is this?
What area?
Haley Corner.
This is Haley Corner,
Okay.
95 Catalan Road.
Had we known that you were part of this project last time, we could have talked about it last meeting.
I know. Last meeting, I was thrown to the wolves
Oh.
by a coworker, you know. See if you can get this variance. Didn't happen. So yeah, I'm just here tonight to talk to you about, you know, our thoughts and plans moving forward with the septic design for Haley Corner. Kind of touch on Jim's 7 comments and kind of just get some feedback from what you guys are thinking and, you know, get your thoughts and how you guys think we should approach it moving forward, if different than what we, you know,
Look that up for you later.
yeah, I don't know why I couldn't find it. So yeah, right now we have proposed to have a cluster development, you know, I don't want to say shared system because it's not a shared system per Title V. It's a system to be served from a condominium association. It's a cluster development system. And so right now we have,
Is that the reserve to the left?
that is reserved to the left, yep. And not shown on the plan here, but it's in the design process right now, and we're working through it, is we're proposing to actually have each individual septic tanks for each house.
How many houses?
17 will be going to this system. There's 2 6-bedroom, 1 5-bedroom, and the rest are 4-bedroom. The 2 estate lots out back here, I can,
1 bedroom.
6-bedroom, so they're not shown here, I can flip the page if you want to see them, but those are bigger houses, they're going to be 6-bedroom. And then the existing house, 195, right here, will also be tying into the system, which is a 5-bedroom right now.
5 bedroom.
So,
So you're saying each lot will have a tank?
so
and-
each dwelling will have its own septic tank. It'll be a two compartment, but really it's a 1,500, it's, you know, your 1,500 gallon septic tank, 500 gallon dosing chamber, which will have an E1 pump in, that then will pump the effluent all the way to another septic tank. It could be, right now we have it sized as a large septic tank to handle the 8,000 approximately gallons per day. We may break it into 2 separate, you know, 4,000 gallon septic tanks. That, the design isn't final, this is more, you know, and that's, Jim said he's gonna reserve, you know, most of his, you know, design comments till we submit a final design, but we're just here to, you know, get some feedback. So, and then obviously it'll go to a dosing chamber, which will feed the hydraulic unit for the drip system, and
It's a drip system.
yeah, it's a drip system to distribute the effluent.
What was the
throughout
perk rate over there? And how many
the
test
perk-
holes do you have to do for that?
Oh, we've done a lot of test holes. We've probably done,
Where'd you do it?
we've done them all throughout this entire thing. I think I have shown on one of these sheets. And the perk rate is 10. 10 was the highest. It kind of varies, and it does vary.
Any below 2?
Huh?
Any below 2?
I do not believe there was any below 2.
Building. Building, 17, 19. It's gonna be like 100 extra more.
It's not hard.
So, yeah, this is where this is the location of the system. So we have test pits all through primary and reserve. Yep, so back here, you know, because originally, when we first came before with the preliminary plan, we had actually graded out all the individual septic systems. Since the lot lines and buildings have obviously moving from the preliminary plan to the definitive submission. So we did prove out 17 conventional septic systems. And obviously low ground, yeah, I mean, this site would have been like a Dooney Desert, like, they were all mounded. So there was pretty much 17 mounds. I think there was one good perking lot, you know, but really it's the groundwater. It's the site does have high groundwater. That's kind of why we're before you with the drip system, to reduce the, you know, depth of the leaching area per se.
I mean, my personal opinion is a shared system as a drip system is like destined for failure. Because you're gonna get 17 different families in there that don't know how to use it. And they're not
Well,
gonna take care of it.
the drip system will actually be maintained by Oakson themselves.
Yeah.
They'll be doing, you know, the required inspections by state for them to do it. And again, the system itself, which we, now that you've seen this, but the system itself is gonna be its own parcel, so which we designate as parcel B, which I can,
And it's like right, and the reserve is right on the corner of the 50-foot setback. Is that what that line is?
yeah, yep.
From the wetlands?
How many gallons the septic system?
8,000 gallons a day.
It's a little less than 8.
So there is a.
And so if you see
They have
here,
a
parcel
septic-
B,
Septic system, and then they
Yeah,
have it.
that's
all
where
the
it's
way to
going.
there.
that's where it's going right here.
Unbelievable. Wow.
So what's the diameter of the pipes that you're pressure dosing through?
The E1 to the tank is a 3-inch,
Mhm.
and the drip tubing is a 1-inch.
Wow.
What are you gaining? What's the groundwater?
It's like 2 feet. And so with we did grade out a conventional system right there, a conventional communal system, and the grading we just couldn't meet, your local regulation of the 10-foot offset to the toe slope, and we ended up grading far into the 50-foot buffer with the Conservation Commission, obviously.
Because it's new construction and you can't get the benefit of a Presby.
Correct. And so, I mean, if we want to just run through these.
I mean, this is just discussion.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is way.
Yeah, like, I'm not really
being way
comfortable
too
with that
detailed.
drip system as a shared system. That's my opinion.
We just want
Absolutely.
to know that you're planning a septic system at this point.
Yeah. It's good you've got a plan for a septic system.
Yes.
It's a good start.
Want me to read?
Sure, please.
Okay.
Why don't you look into the geo
In
map?
the corner subdivision comments by Jim. Number 1, each lot must be provided a source of potable water. That's a,
It'll be town water.
yeah, that's.
That was an easy one.
I startled when I saw that one.
I saw that.
How did that get missed? Number 2, each lot must be served by a sewage disposal system in compliance with Title V and the town's disposal system regulations. So each unit's got to have its own system.
Tank, yeah.
Tank.
Yep.
Yep. The proposed plan shows the wastewater from all the homes being pumped into the septic tank. Title V doesn't recommend pumping more than 25% of the design flow to a septic tank. These sites, 310 CMR 15.2292. Then he has in very bold line, since your last meeting, I spoke to one of the engineers for this project, and they plan to modify the plan to comply with Title V with respect to pumping before a septic tank. Okay?
Yep.
Number 3, this actually is, standard stuff. No burning of wood waste from the lot. Cleaning operation is allowed without compliance with 310 CMR 16.000 site assignment regulations. Number 4, any blasting material shall not be perchlorate based. Number 5, all detentions, retention structures shall minimize standing water. 6, all phases of construction shall be done to minimize noise, odor, and dust that would be injurious of public health and or cause a condition of air pollution. Number 7, please provide the ownership structure for the proposed development. So it looks like you're
You're on it.
on it.
Yeah.
So this is all one lot? There's condos, right?
So these will be, they are condos, they will be legit lot lines. They'll be also, lots 1 through 17 will be part of a condominium association. And that condominium association will be the owners of parcel B. So they'll all have a 1/17 ownership of parcel B, which encompasses the septic system.
So there.
What's, is this part of it too?
No, sorry, that's just a box to show farther sheets.
So they're gonna have a condo fee then, practically?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And that will provide something goes wrong.
Is this town conservation land? Or is that part of-
Yep, that is the Littleton Conservation Trust.
So with this is open space development?
Yep.
So you're giving the town all of this
We're giving the town 29, or approximately 30 of the 40 acres.
swampy wetlands, thanks.
We have a lot of fun out there.
Shouldn't even count.
Lots of photosynthesis. Don't underestimate it.
Sometimes it doesn't count.
I know. Shouldn't count.
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion?
Which is a discussion.
Oh, yeah, just.
Yeah, you have another step to go to before we actually.
Absolutely, yeah, this is just,
Lots of steps.
yeah, this is lots of steps. We still have to finalize the full design plan. Again, the feedback's
The
good.
motion to continue.
You don't like to see the drips, or.
I mean, it's only 6 inches below the surface, right? And
It actually will, yeah, it's 6 inches below the surface.
Yeah.
Pretty much to follow the grade.
yeah,
to
I mean,
deal
I
with
don't know
high
why it
groundwater.
wouldn't freeze, but
If you have any comments that you
It doesn't-
want sent to the planning.
we're gonna go to the planning board.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can actually
21st.
speak to the reason it doesn't freeze.
because it's constantly
Electrical.
dosed.
It's constantly dosing it, and it gets actually recycled back through the hydraulic unit, which will be housed in an insulated, doghouse type shed type deal.
Well, that
They
other
actually provide that insulation box that so when you buy the hydraulic unit from Oakson,
Yeah.
they give you that insulated box that you then have the ability to insulate it more by putting your own little, if you want it to look nice, a nice little
Mhm.
shed to house the hydraulic unit.
So what's your offset to groundwater with that drip system?
4, I
4?
yeah, I believe it's 4. It may even, I think we might have even done 5 to account for some mounting calculations. And I just have a generic question. The geomat, is that,
It's a similar system that allows you that groundwater, it may only be useful on repairs in this instance.
Gotcha. definitely look into it. I guess in regards to the individual tankage for each house and having when you guys say you need, it doesn't recommend the pumping more than 25%, we'll obviously be pumping 100%. But given the fact that
You have multiple tanks.
multiple tanks, right? So,
I mean, it seems like maybe he's looking for after the E1 pump to have 4 2,000-gallon tanks prior to the pressure dose.
right. Which again, right now we show the 8,000. We'll obviously be in talks with Jim, and if he wants to see 4 2,000-gallon, then that's what we'll do.
So you can come back and make a motion to continue.
Well,
Well,
we're just
Yeah,
chatting.
I
Yeah,
know.
we're just here to chat.
Okay.
So it looks good.
Yeah.
See you next time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. We'll be at the, are you going to be at the planning board meeting?
Sure will. I actually might take that back because the conservation and planning board are same night.
Ah.
So depending on the time, I might be at one, Bruce might be at the other, so.
Why don't they just do them together? I don't understand.
It's.
Get on the same
it's
page
kinda
with
like a
everybody.
Cat and mouse game, because we try and please the Concom, and then we go back to the planning board, they say, why'd you do this? Oh, we did this because your conservation commission told us to, and they're like, well, now you're interfering with our regulations, and it's,
No winning, huh?
try to please everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
thanks.
thank you. Okay. Would someone like to make a motion to close the meeting?
I'd like to make a motion.
to adjourn.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.